Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Word Bible Study, a plain and simple book by chapter, and verse by verse study through the entire Bible. We are currently in Daniel chapter 9, and we are going through Daniel's 70-week countdown prophetic time clock to the second coming of Jesus. Now, we did a little excursion and talked about how we can fit the church age, which is not in Old Testament Bible prophecy. So, as best that we can get, is Jesus addressing the church through being a witness, and then the end will come. So, but the primary focus, as we remember, of the prophecy is to Israel, about Israel. So we're going to get back to that, as we said that most prophecy centers around what God is doing in Israel. Now, one of the scriptures that we read in Acts chapter 1, right before Jesus ascended into heaven, you remember his disciples asked him, Lord, are you restoring the kingdom to Israel at this time? And he said, it's not for you to know the times or the period. Now, he didn't say God wasn't going to restore the kingdom to Israel. We're studying the prophecy now. He just said, it is not for you to know at this time. Now, at that time that he was speaking, it was to the disciples / the church and what they were to do. They were to go out and to be a witness in all the earth. They were to be the witnesses in every nation, right? To all nations. We talked about what is God doing during that time. What is the result of the church being a witness in all nations? The result is God, as people are being added to the church, as they're being saved, right? As they're being added to church, God is building his body. Church, the church is Christ's body. He's building his body. The sanctuary of God is being built. We are citizens of the household of God. We are excluded from the citizenship of Israel. I like God's household better. But now let's get back to the prophecies, of course, that God had promised and prophesied about Israel. So let's get back to that. All right, so I'll start with the verse 24 again. And he says, 70 weeks are decreed about your people and your holy city to bring a rebellion to an end, to put a stop to sin, to wipe away iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up division and anoint the most holy place. And then he says, know and understand this, from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem unto Messiah the Prince. Now, I want to say this again because when we read prophecy, one of the key elements of prophecy, God's word always must come to pass. Must. If it doesn't come to pass, it is not God's word. This is why I have a harsh criticism against those who speak in the name of the Lord. I get videos on these false prophets. They say, God told me. One lady she had prophesied, and thank God we're in July, because she said that in 2022, God told her she was going to get married. The Lord told her, and then she kept saying, she did the video, God told me. God even revealed my husband. Well, by the end of the year 23, as we rolled over into 24, her prophecy didn't come to pass. See, the problem here is God, as we're dealing with this prophecy here, we need to stop that foolishness. And then you got those who defend her. Won't get too far into that. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I think this is so important. Because God's word comes to pass. God's word comes to pass. We can look at this and strengthen our faith. Right now, the Bible is under attack by atheists, by those call themselves all kinds of religions, by the way, not only atheists, but they call them deconstructing from Christianity, whatever. But anyway, the Bible is being under attack as being what? Silly, nonsense, fables, whatever. This tells us it's not. Keep this in mind. This prophecy here that Daniel was talking about, when he gave this prophecy, came to pass in several ways. From his perspective, the 70 years are about to be expired. Just in a few short years, Cyrus issues the decree. God's word is always true. We can look at that. That's why this is important, because we can look at that and say, guess what? If we know this has come to pass, so we know that everything else will come to pass. I can put my faith in it. I can put my trust in it to the point of dying. Why do I know heaven is real? Because God's word has come to pass. That's why I say some of these false prophets, shame on you for prophesying or prophesying in the name of the Lord. But anyway, I do digress. Verse 25 says, know and understand this, from the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks or 69 weeks. It will be rebuilt with the plaza and a moat, but in difficult times. After those 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and will have nothing. Now stop. And I said this before, that right here, I believe verse 27 should begin. Verse headings, chapter headings are not inspired in any way. All right. And the reason why I say that is because right here, he shifts thought. He goes from the Messiah to a different prince. So he says right here, the people of the coming prince will destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end will come with the flood until the war. The end will come with the flood, and until the end there would be war, desolations are decreed. Verse 27. He will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week. So now remember we said 1 week is a 7-year period of time. He will make a covenant for many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week, he will put a stop to sacrifice and offering, and the abomination of desolation will be on the wing of the temple until the decreed destruction and poured out on the desolator. So this 7-week, and this is why we did a little pause and we said between week 69 and week 70 had it happened. Now I must acknowledge that there are people that believe this 70-week has happened. I don't believe that they make their case scripturally, but I acknowledge not everybody believes in this particular interpretation of prophecy. All right. The idea here is this 1 week specifically talks about the Antichrist, as we're saying, that he breaks his covenant in the middle of the week. Now, let me show you this. Let's go back to chapter 8, right? So let's look at chapter 8, where he talks about this. Now, in this chapter, in this verse prophecy, remember, he gives the prophecy of the Grecian kingdom destroying the Median Persian kingdom. So then he comes down, and I want to pick up verse 23 because he says, near the end of their kingdoms, when rebellion have reached the full measure of their sin, an insolent king skilled in intrigue will come to the throne. His power will be great, but it will not be his own. He will cause terrible destruction and succeed in whatever he does. He will destroy the powerful along with the holy people. This is Israel here that he's talking about. Now, if you remember when Jesus said, when you see the abomination that caused desolation, flee to the mountain of Jerusalem. Verse 25, he will cause deceit to prosper through its cunning and by his influence, and in his own mind he will make himself great. And he will destroy many in a time of peace, and he will even stand against the Prince of Princes. So this is why we know we're talking about the Antichrist here. And yet he will be shattered, not by human hands. That's why I said this is when we know that he is referring to the Antichrist. Then he says, now you must seal up the vision because it referred to the days in the future. And I, Daniel, was sick. Missing something here, I thought. All right. All right. So this, okay. He said, yet he will shatter. He'll be shattered not by human hand. All right. Let me go to chapter 7 quickly. That's why I say Daniel is a fascinating book. A fascinating book. So let's pick it up in verse number. Where do I want to pick it up? This is the interpretation of a vision that he had in verse 15. As for me, Daniel, my spirit was deeply distressed within me, and the vision of my mind was terrified. I approached one of those who were standing by and asked him the true meaning of all of this. So he let me know the interpretation of these things. The huge beast, then he said, these huge beasts, four in number, are four kings who will arise from the earth, but the holy ones of the Most High will receive the kingdom and possess it forever, yes, and forever and ever. Now, stop. Now, remember when Peter and them asked Jesus before he ascended, are you restoring the kingdom of Israel at this time? Remember, they're kind of familiar with these prophecies. Let's assume they are familiar with these prophecies right here. So my point is, you understand why they were asking the question. Jesus just simply said, it's not for you to know the times, okay? Verse 19, then I wanted to know the true meaning of the fourth beast. Now, this is the one he's always intrigued with, right? The one different from all the others, extremely terrifying, with iron teeth and bronze claws, devouring, crushing, and trampling with his feet whatever's left. I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on his head. Now, this is interesting right here because this is one of the first times we see this mention of 10 horns. You see it again in Revelations chapter 13, Revelations chapter 17. It's explained, okay, on his head. I said, I wanted to know about the 10 horns on his head and about the other horns that came up, before which 3 fell, the horn that had eyes and a mouth that spoke arrogantly, and that was more visible than the others. As I was watching, this horn waged war against the holy ones and was prevailing over them until the Ancient of Days arrived, and a judgment was given in favor of the holy ones of the Most High. For the time had come, and the holy ones took possession of the kingdom. This was what he said. The fourth beast will be a fourth kingdom on the earth, different from all the other kingdoms. It will devour the whole earth, trample it down, and crush it. The 10 horns, or 10 kings, will arise from this kingdom. Another different from the previous one will arise after them to do 3 kings. He will speak words against the Most High, oppress the holy ones of the Most High, and he will intend to change religious festivals and laws, and the holy ones will be handed over to him for a time, times, and then a half a time. Comes out to like 3.5 years. Okay? Then he says, but the courts will convene, and his dominion will be taken away to be completely destroyed forever. And then the kingdom, dominion, and greatness of the kingdoms. Okay, the kingdom, dominion, and greatness of the kingdom under all heavens will be given to the people, the holy ones of the Most High. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all rulers will serve and obey him. Now, I kind of got paused right here because I keep reading for the Holy Ones will be handed over to him for a time, times, and half a time. So I think the times, I keep in my head interpreting this as 3.5 years. Okay. But, okay, so we see that in this 70th week, and notice verse 12, he says, because of the rebellion, a host together with the daily sacrifice will be given over. It said something else. And then he said to me, um, why did I miss this? Okay, let me read this again. Let me read this. Okay, then he says, because of the rebellion, a host together with the daily sacrifice will be given over. The horn will throw truth to the ground and will be successful. Let me go back. This is the interpretation. That's why. Okay. Let me read it from verse 9. Okay. This is the vision. Then he gave the interpretation. I missed something here. He said, from one of the little horn emerged, it grew extensive towards the southeast, towards the beautiful land. It grew as high as the heavenly host, made some of the stars made from the stars, and some of the host fall to the earth and trample it. You can get a better understanding of this also in Revelation chapter 12. It made itself great even to the prince of hosts. It removed the daily sacrifice and overthrew the place of the sanctuary because of the rebellion of the host. Together with the daily sacrifice will be given over. The horn will the horn will throw truth to the ground and will be successful in whatever it does. Then I heard the Holy One speaking, and another Holy One said to the speaker, how long will these events of this vision last? The daily sacrifice, the rebellion that makes desolate. Now, remember that language we read? Jesus referred to this. Like I said, Jesus referred to this. He said, and the giving over of the sanctuary and of the host to be trampled, he said to me, for 23 evenings and mornings, the sanctuary will be restored. So that's about 3.5 years. All right. So let me read one more. I want to go to Daniel chapter 12, and I want to go to look at verse 11. From the time the daily sacrifice is abolished and the abomination of desolation is set up, there will be 1,290 days. The one who waits and reaches the 1335 days will be blessed. Now, I just want to read that to show you the continuity. Let's go back to chapter 9. We're going to get to all this, of course, in the upcoming studies. So, so here, look at this is where he starts talking about this man of sin, the beast. He said, the people of the coming prince will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end will come of the flood. Now, some people will see this as being fulfilled in AD 70, and I will say, I can see that, but I will also say would be a near fulfillment. But the ultimate fulfillment, of course, would be during the Great Tribulation period, his reign. The end will come with the flood. Until the end will be a war. Desolations are decreed. He will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week, he will put a stop to the sacrifice and offering, and the abomination of desolation will be on the wing of the temple until the decreed destruction is poured out on the desolator. So this again, coming right up to the second coming of Jesus Christ, the second coming of Jesus Christ. All right, we're going to get, this is this 9th chapter here, the fascinating chapter as you can see. And again, we're not done with, again, Daniel's prophecy. So we have more. We're going to continue on in chapter 10 next time. But again, a fascinating chapter, I think, that gives us some keys to understanding, some keys to kind of understanding the kind of totality of biblical prophecy. All right, guys, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome, and I will see you in the next study. All right.